So, here we are. Indiana against Cleveland. 2 streaks, 2 ambitions, but only one will walk away unbroken. The Pacers, fighting tooth and nail to stay alive, coming off a 4-game win streak. A team that knows what it's like to claw their way out of the dirt, to leave it all on the floor. Halliburton's been a maestro, dropping dimes and buckets like it's poetry in motion. Siakam, Mathurin, they're not just contributors, they're warriors. But a team that bleeds 115.5 points per game on the road. That's a team on thin ice, and tonight that ice is cracking. And then there's Cleveland, a machine, a symphony of destruction conducted by Garland, Mobley, and Allen. 12 wins in a row. 12 statements that say, we don't just play to win, we play to dominate. Garland's 40-point masterpiece against Toronto. That wasn't basketball, that was art. Mobley and Allen owning the glass like kings reclaiming a throne. And at home, they're sharpshooters, over 50% from the field, 41% from deep. But here's the twist, they're human, too. Giving up 126 to Toronto shows cracks. Small ones, but they're there. This isn't just about numbers or matchups. This is about heart, grit. Indiana knows the underdog's song, but Cleveland writes the endings. And now we're here, standing at the crossroads. 2 teams, 2 stories, 1 winner, and today's AI pick is Cleveland Cavaliers to cover -9.5. Mark it down, let the chips fall where they may. Tonight, we find out if grit can match greatness, or if the machine just keeps on rolling. On to Game 2.
Philadelphia and Orlando. 2 teams stepping into the Sunshine State spotlight, each carrying their own burdens. The 76ers? They're reeling. 4 losses in their last 6 games. A team fighting for relevance, sitting 3rd in their division, 11 games behind the Celtics. Tyrese Maxey is doing everything he can, 30 points, 12 assists, 6 boards against New Orleans, but what's the reward? A loss. They're putting up just 107.6 points per game, 26th in the league, and don't get me started on rebounding. 30. Out of 30. Embiid? Questionable. And let's face it, without him, they're a skeleton crew. Now, Orlando. Sure, they've lost 9 of their last 14, but here's the difference, they've got Paolo Banchero back. 34 points in his return from a torn oblique. That's not just a comeback, that's a statement. They're number 1 in the league in defense, allowing only 103.3 points per game. They're grinding games down to a halt. But offense? That's their Achilles heel. Dead last in scoring, barely cracking 104 points a night. Franz Wagner is still out, Suggs is MIA, but Banchero alone gives this team a pulse. This game isn't going to be pretty. It's a war of attrition. A battle of who can outlast, not outshine. And today's AI pick is Orlando Magic Moneyline at 120, mark it down. Let's see if Philly can hold the line, or if Orlando's defense suffocates them into submission. On to Game 3.
Oh, look at this. Brooklyn versus Utah, a game so thrilling, so full of potential, mediocrity. The Nets, 13 wins. That's cute. 4 losses in their last 5, truly inspiring. They're limping into the Delta Center like a boxer on his last legs, hoping for a miracle. Nick Claxton leading the charge with 9.8 points? What a powerhouse. They shoot the 3 decently, but let's not kid ourselves, this team is circling the drain. The injury report looks like a novel. Russell, Bogdanovich, Cam Thomas, out. It's almost poetic really. A masterpiece of dysfunction. And Utah. Oh, Utah. 9 wins. 9. Lauri Markkanen is out here trying to drag a sinking ship to shore with his 20 points and 6 rebounds. But what's the point? This team gives up 117.8 points per game. That's not defense. That's a crime scene. Injuries galore. Clarkson, Collins, Hendricks, pick a name. They're all missing. If Brooklyn is circling the drain, Utah's already swirling at the bottom. But here's the beauty of it. Someone has to win. 2 teams clawing for relevance in a game that only their mothers will care about. And today's AI pick is Brooklyn Nets at +125. Write it down. Etch it in stone. Brooklyn stumbles, Utah collapses, and somehow the Nets come out with the win. On to Game 4.
Boston against New Orleans. A tale of two teams moving in very different directions. The Celtics, reigning champions, are still a force in the East, but not without their flaws. Their defense, not as sharp as last year. Their bench, let's be honest, outside of Peyton Pritchard, it's a shadow of what it needs to be. And yet, they're 27-11, a record many teams would envy. Jason Tatum is steady as ever, 26 points in 3 of his last 5 games. Kristaps Porzingis, consistent, adding 19 or more points in his last 3 outings. This is a team with championship DNA, even if their recent struggles suggest they're mortal after all. And then, there's New Orleans. 8 wins, 31 losses. Injury-riddled, out of sync, and staring down tough questions about their future. Zion Williamson, back, but can he stay on the court long enough to matter? Brandon Ingram's absence has been devastating, and the Pelicans' balance is all but gone. CJ McCollum is doing his part, 38 points in his last game and 25 or more in 3 of his last 5. But this team is giving up 117 points per game. That's not competing, that's surviving. Here's the reality. Boston, with its firepower, is primed to exploit New Orleans' defensive gaps. Tatum could have a 30-point night. Porzingis, another solid contribution. CJ will fight always dose, but the Pelicans just don't have the depth or the defensive presence to contain Boston's 3-point shooters. And yet, the Celtics have a bad habit of letting teams hang around, don't they? So here it is. And today's AI pick is over 229.5 points. Mark it down. Expect a high-scoring game, a 3-point barrage from Boston, and a Pelicans team that refuses to go quietly.
All right, let's wrap this up. 4 games, 4 picks, and a whole lot of action coming your way. Let's break it down. Game 1, Indiana Pacers vs. Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are a juggernaut riding a 12-game win streak, and the AI didn't flinch. The pick. Cleveland to cover 9.5. Game 2, Philadelphia 76ers vs. Orlando Magic. Orlando's defense stands tall, while Philly's injury woes leave them shaky on the road. The AI locked in on the Magic with a moneyline pick at 120. Game 3, Brooklyn Nets vs. Utah Jazz. 2 teams battling for a spark, but Brooklyn's slight edge in 3-point shooting and defensive consistency gave them the nod. The pick. Brooklyn moneyline at 125. And finally, Game 4, Boston Celtics vs. New Orleans Pelicans. A high-scoring affair in the making, with Boston's offense set to feast and New Orleans fighting to keep up. The pick. Over 229.5 points. 4 games, 4 picks, and the AI's done its part. Now, it's up to the teams to bring it to life. Let's see how it all plays out.